Hello everybody, welcome back to Trine, and as promised, here we are with the Ruins of the Perished, a very dramatic sounding title. And I really like this level, it's got a really cool setting to it. It's, and again, another outdoorsy area. Like I mentioned, I tend to prefer those. And obviously when it comes down to it, it doesn't really make much difference over to the overall setting. It's still, most of the levels all still play the same. But
that guy's thinking about something.
Well, I know the thief was saying something.
The statue.
Oh, the statue. Oh, I gotcha. I didn't pay attention to it.
So's this one, except this one's fallen over.
What's this impressive little, like, I wish I could have said I would have done that on purpose, but.
Were you even supposed to do that?
You weren't not supposed to do it, but it was just like, I was just trying to kick it out of the way and didn't really intend it to go that far, and then it just kind of conveniently landed on top of the platform. Who knew?
And it dicked me over, and I had to start the whole game over from the beginning.
Not quite to that point. It did end up. Well, that was more my fault. The spike thing. It does make it a little bit trickier to jump on top of it, but.
Interesting how it's got some kind of physics to it.
Oh yeah. The
moving side to side.
Yeah, the physics engine in this game is a very pivotal part of it.
Did you knock it with your arrow? Was that you?
Yeah. Yeah, the arrows do a little bit of a jolt.
I didn't know arrows could knock giant cement blocks.
Yeah, the physics engine in this game isn't 100% realistic. And a lot of those arrows things...
Just 100% sexy.
Well, I don't know about that. But yeah, arrows will just kind of bounce off stone objects, and if they're mobile, it will move them back a little bit. Not a whole lot, obviously. One of the things I like to do, like, in cases where you're having to push something, it's kind of fun to select the thief, and then rapid fire the arrow shot as you're pushing forward, because the arrows are just kind of spawning out of nowhere. I know I've done it a couple times in this video, but I don't know if we ever put it out, so it's something that's kind of fun to exploit.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
In real life, what would be scarier?
Oh boy.
A walking skeleton? A walking zombie? Or a walking human who you don't like?
Well, it would depend on the state of the zombie. Skeleton is pretty cut and dry, but zombie, it would depend.
What about the human you don't like?
I have a hard time seeing how that would be particularly scary, if that's the criteria that we're focusing in on.
Well, because he's like, I don't like this guy at all, and oh my god, he's coming to say hi to me.
I wouldn't be scared, I would be more frustrated, probably.
Okay, but in all this, you don't think seeing an actual skeleton walking towards you would be scary?
Well, I think the zombie might be scary, but it depends on the state of the zombie. Are we talking, like, flesh falling off the bone, or are we just talking about, like, grayed skin?
No, yeah, we're talking about, you know, half bone, half flesh, half organ.
I would say that one would be scarier than a skeleton. But that's just me.
Whose hand would you shake? A skeleton's, a zombie's, or a guy who you really don't like? I mean, this guy's just like, he's like the last person you want to see right now. Whose hand would you shake? I
don't know, man. I guess, alright, well, I guess it would depend on the circumstance of the handshake. Is it like a business meeting, or is it like let's
say it's like a meet and greet, you know, it's like the first time you meet, and you gotta shake your hands, and up walks this, like, skeleton guy, and he's got, like, no flesh, no organs, no brain, he's just bone, man, and you gotta shake his hand and introduce yourself, and then, of course, if you also have the option of going to the zombie, he's like walking up to you all lurched, and he's got, like, flesh falling off his bones and organs dripping out, his intestines is everywhere, and he's like, clearly he wants to have your brain, but first, of course, you have to introduce yourself and shake his hand, and then there's just this guy, he's just so smug. I mean, he walks up to you, he thinks he knows everything, you know, he's got that kind of jerk face, and, you know, you've seen this guy a million times before, and you just hate this guy. Like, if it was up to you, you would never even talk to this guy, but it's a friend of a friend, and you have to go and shake his hand. Which of those three, whose hand would you shake?
I guess I would stick with my original decision by saying that the zombie would be the least preferred.
Who would be the most
But who would I shake? It would be the person, easily.
Even though you just hate this guy so much? I mean, you don't even know the skeleton, but you know this guy. I mean, I'll shake someone's hand if I truly hate them, but I don't think I've ever truly hated anybody in my life before. Oh, okay. Because, you know, that's pretty prejudiced to say, I'm not going to shake a skeleton's hand just because he's a skeleton.
I don't know what to tell you, man. No matter what my answer was going to be, I knew there was going to be something you weren't gonna like about it. So, I prepare myself for these questions that are completely irrelevant and have no impact on the game.
Got an item there, maximum
Yes.
health.
Oh yeah, no, back to the game. No, please. So yes, this is the Amulet of Fortitude, which yes, we're definitely giving that one to the knight because I'm still a little bit confused why I didn't give the that Prism of Light to the knight because I think he could have really used it. But maybe my mindset was the knight dies so often anyway. Maybe my thought was like 25% isn't going to make a huge difference, but I don't know. Seeing it objectively now, it's like I think that was probably a crappy decision on my part.
Look at all those experiences. You could fit them in a bottle.
Well, it would be nice, and it's a little bit tough getting to that one without just summoning a bunch of shit, and I think that's exactly what I do here. So it's the easy route, but I don't really see... Oh, I guess, yeah, now that I'm up here, I guess I could have hopped up from the other side, but oh well. I've made it too far to turn back now.
You just... What's that called? Sequence broke.
Not quite. Well, in fact, I think that's more or less the kind of intended way of getting that one. I don't think they're expecting players to go all the way around to the other side and climb where I stuck the box to the wall, but it's one option. Truth be told, I really can't think of any real sequence breaks in this game, because I mean, the levels are so linear, it's almost like...
Oh, then you just haven't watched the right videos yet.
Well, I don't know, I guess I haven't.
I don't think there's a game out there someone hasn't cheated in.
Well, yeah, there are speedruns in this game, but there's a difference between just doing, like, exploits and cheats versus... Or not cheats, but exploits versus sequence breaking. Sequence breaking would be like getting to this part in the game without having fire arrows.
No, sequence breaking would just be skipping a level entirely.
That would be one way to do it, yeah. But I don't think there is a way to, like, skip over entire levels in this game.
Like, there's so much sequence breaking in the Ocarina of Time, it's crazy.
There is. I think they've got it down to 19 minutes now.
I sequence broke in Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Good for you.
I bet you don't even know how.
Well, I know that Sonic 3 is by far the glitchiest, and I've seen a lot of speedruns of it, so I think I could probably guess of a few ways, or at least a few places where it happens.
I was able to without cheats or debug mode, fight Knuckles' version of the Marble Garden Zone boss as Sonic.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a couple videos of that before, which is really cool.
Thanks to me, baby.
Were you the first one, the originator?
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you're hypersonic, you can go over the tops of the level, and then you can end up in Knuckles' area.
It's pretty cool. And as much as I love that game, I'll be the first to admit it is a little bit derpy with some of the glitches and
I also have a video in which I did a glitch where I was in the Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, which makes it even weirder because I was in a game that was solely Sonic 3 and Knuckles. No Sonic and Knuckles, and there was no lock-in. It was already pre-locked on. It was just Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which made me under the impression that it was now in its own code. Doing a certain glitch in debug mode, I managed to end up in two-player mode.
Okay.
From Angel Island Zone right to two-player mode.
Mm-hmm.
But this was with debug on, which I don't think is usually possible in two-player mode. And then after that, when I left, I was all of a sudden playing Sonic and Knuckles.
Oh.
Which seems strange, because I was in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And to confirm that, I went back to the main menu through the menu options, or reset the game through the menu options, and sure enough, it put me back into Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Okay. So through a glitch, I managed to actually lock the game off of itself.
Well, it does happen.
That was the glitchiest thing I had ever seen.
It is impressive, yeah. And with a game like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I mean, of all the Sonic games, that's the one I would expect the most to freak out like that, which is enjoyable. Ooh, speaking of enjoyable, this is a fun little combat area. It's especially fun if you have time. Yeah, there we go, to kick some of those things around. Unfortunately, I doomed myself. Whoa! I'm hearing like double sound effects right now, which was kind of weird, like stereo, like slightly delayed stereo. You there?
Yeah, my headphones were going crazy, getting stuck everywhere. I hate my new setup.
That's really weird.
No, you're not recognized, dude. You're a USB device. Computer thing.
I can still hear you.
Stupid thing. Interesting.
So, but yeah, in any case, I was actually really surprised.
Can you go over the wall there?
Yeah, I think so. It just leads back to that same area though, so it's not really anything fancy, unfortunately.
Oh.
But yeah, there's a couple points in this game where you can kind of view the edges of like a particular boundary of the level, or like you can tell where they didn't bother rendering anything. There's a couple of spots that happens. In fact, I think it's already happened a few times.
How are you supposed to know about that one?
That experience, a couple points like that where it's like just barely off screen, so you really don't know about it. It's just kind of like
I bet you used a guide.
I did not actually. For some of these games I do use guides, or at least I'll try to like I'll like maybe watch a video or some sort of video walkthrough of it just to get a refresher and then play through it. In this one though, I went in pretty dry because I had beaten the game only like a few months prior, so it was still relatively fresh in mind. But yeah, in the case of that one experience bottle, yeah, you're really not supposed to like know that it's there. I guess it's more of like you're supposed to kind of guess that something might be there because it's just off screen, it's just out of view. I think it's more it's like a metagame type of thing. Like there would really be no way of knowing just based on that viewpoint alone. I think I do finally finish the jump there. There we go. Those little weight puzzle thing. Well, I don't know if you can call them puzzles, but the little jumping switch puzzles are a little bit strange. A lot of it's just kind of I don't want to say guessing the sequence, but it is kind of like just.
Why is there a chain falling down that waterfall?
A chain. Oh, I see it. That is kind of cool. Actually, I never really noticed that. I guess that's just how it looks. I really can't say. Oh, this is
I never knew water was chained.
Yeah, that's in video games. It is, especially pre-rendered stuff in the background. But oh well, it's still fun.
What would happen if you had something that was post-rendered?
Post-rendering? There are some games that utilize post-rendering, like for some.
What the hell is that? I thought I made that up.
No, post-rendering is a thing. It's usually like it's very rarely is something like reliant on post-rendering. And
That's like when you walk up to an object, it renders in front of you.
It's more like it's more like some sort of like filter or something like that. I know that Guns of Icarus utilizes a lot of post-filtering, and if he turns it off, honestly, I think the game looks better without it. But usually it's just like a visual, like stylistic effect. Very rarely is it something like core.
All I know is you explained nothing about it to me.
Well, just know that it's not something that would be like it's not something that would affect gameplay, and it's not something that would affect performance. Usually it's just stylistic. So
and what about unrendered objects?
Then unrendered, you just wouldn't see it, so it wouldn't make a difference. I'd be lying if unfortunately I don't know of like a ton of games that use post-rendering a lot, so I don't really know of a ton of good examples. But Guns of Icarus
it up.
I'm sorry?
I'm looking that shit up.
Oh, by all means. I mean, it's not like we have a YouTube video to commentate over, so just
video games post-rendering.
Unfortunately, I don't know of a very nifty way of solving this puzzle without just kind of relying on summoned objects, but I like to think that this method works decently. It is kind of a ship. Our ship is sinking, so jump up there fast. I think I make it. Yeah, there we go. Jump in the corner. Just barely made it.
I don't see a reference to anything to the words post-rendering. Maybe I think I made that up. And then you went along with it somehow.
I'm pretty sure it's a real thing, because I remember it shows up in Guns of Icarus Online. So
alright, post-rendering Guns of Icarus.
There we go. Took him out. Yeah, it took 2 hits with a hammer, so it's...
No, it's called post-processing.
Post-processing? Oh, okay.
Not rendering.
No,
I don't think there's such a thing as post-rendering.
My mistake. I thought that's what it was called.
There's only 2 kinds of renders. There's pre-rendered objects, like you see in the background there, or now rendered objects, if you would. The other kind of rendering would be like, I'm trying to think of a game that would do that. I don't know. Okay, you know those like free world games? Like, okay, World of Warcraft, for example. Like, if you were playing World of Warcraft, you'd have a certain draw distance, right?
Right.
And the closer you got to further distances, they would appear on your screen and render themselves as you came near them.
Right.
That's the only other kind of rendering, I believe.
Well, I'd assume that would just fall in line with just the...
It would just be called rendering.
Yeah, I don't think that would be... I wouldn't assume that would have a special name to it. Since
No,
it's
I think that's just
gameplay.
rendering. But the thing with pre-rendered is, if they were able to get the entire world rendered at once, it would all be pre-rendered.
Oh god, that would be crazy for a game like
this entire game is pre-rendered, from what I can tell, because nothing that you could see is rendered as you're getting to it. It may well be rendering itself as you get to it, but not at a point that's visually accessible.
Well, no, I mean, games wouldn't render stuff that's not on screen. They would still run the calculations for it, but yeah, they would raise the processing power on it.
Anyway.
The video card stuff is like, at least, I can't think of it, like, I'm sure there are exceptions, but usually the video stuff is the most intensive. Obviously, if you open up Gary's Mod and summon 1,000 watermelons, then, well, the processing stuff is gonna...
I never played Gary's Mod. What even is it?
Well...
It's like make your own Half-Life?
Not quite. It's pretty much just a sandbox where you can summon pretty much any resource or any model, any sort of utility item within like any of the Half-Life games or within any of the Source games that you own at least or that you have installed.
So if I have Counter-Strike, I could do Counter-Strike stuff in Gary's Mod?
For the Source games, yeah. So for Source and Global Offensive, you'd be able to summon stuff in Gary's Mod from Counter-Strike. And same with Half-Life and Episode 1 and 2 and Team Fortress 2. And you can import other things too and make custom items. And
what do you do though?
I'm sorry?
What do you do in it?
Well, it's a sandbox, and there's a couple things you can do with it. You can either like open up your own game and just play around with some of the items. There are tools that let you interact with the items other than the intended effects. So there's like a physics tool that lets you set things in certain poses, or
You're supposed to use that to get the experience bottle.
I'm trying to kill this guy first, and I'm trying to.
Why are you using the knife?
I'm sorry.
I was saying, why are you using the knife for that?
Well, I'm trying to make it interesting. Oh, here's the one I was talking about, trying to use the thief for pushing stuff. But yeah, I was just trying to have fun with kicking stuff.
Who said you could have fun?
Well, I mean, I try and make for interesting kills whenever the...
I'm just kidding around.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, a lot of times if it defies reasoning and if it looks inefficient, then it probably is, but I sometimes like...
No one said you could have fun, that's the answer.
Well, now let me clear that out. But no, I'm a big fan of Gary's Mod. There's a lot of custom game options that people have made, and lots of mods within Gary's Mod that are really excellent, so if people are looking...
Like, people put, like, Source mods within Gary's Mod, so you're playing Source stuff in Gary's Mod?
Kinda. There's nothing like full conversion mods, but stuff that's actually quite impressive and that alters the gameplay quite a bit. There's like, for those who were looking for a game with a lot of variety, Gary's Mod is fantastic. Although it definitely helps to have friends to play it with. There's a single player.
Is Gary's Mod the thing people do all those Team Fortress talking guy videos?
Either that or no, that's right. Whatever the I know that Valve has a tool that specifically allows you to like record the facial expressions and whatnot within the games.
But how does that work? I always hear it as the guy's voice, and it's always the same voice.
Well, they probably just sync, like if they're using Team Fortress 2 voices, they're probably just syncing the mouth movements to the sound clips.
No, but it's okay. It'd be like the guy'd be like, "I want the shiny apple to do I do," and it'd be like things that seem to be custom inputs, but the guy is saying them too.
Oh, really?
Haven't you ever seen those videos?
I don't think so. Where you mean like some other than the stock things that they always say anyway?
Yeah, definitely other stuff. Like they'll say memes and stuff.
Really? That's interesting. I've not heard of that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there are tools for that then. I'm not aware of them, but I mean, this is Valve, so it wouldn't surprise me if they came up with some crazy shit like that. But in any case, it would be something that they would provide. I don't think it would be through Gary.
See, the guy doesn't look so Asian there, but here when we look at him small, he looks very Asian.
Maybe. Like I said, I really can't tell you definitively one way or the other.
Look at this guy, see?
He's pretty cool. And even though he doesn't know that fireball spell, he does quite...
And he's got the voice of a 17-year-old.
I wouldn't quite say 17, but he definitely does not
19.
He definitely does not sound quite as old as he looks with the gray hair, but... That's just how it is for some people. I don't...
Maybe like a 9-year-old?
Not quite, unfortunately. I'd have to
7? Voice of
alright,
a toddler.
So anyway, this is the end of the level because I think we reached the end of the ruins, and
Now you get the
gone.
treasure.
No, it's gone. The artifact is missing.
Just a guardian at rest.
Just a guardian at rest. Yep. So all of that, just trying. Oh, but there's still stuff in the distance apparently. Or the guardian. That's hard to say. Aha. And actually, does it show us in this video, or is that the next one? I can't remember. Maybe it is in the next one.
Ooh.
Okay, it's the next one. Never mind.
Alright, not too long ago, an earthquake had rocked the pedestal, destroying the shrine that surrounded the artifact of body and matter. The charms that had protected the third artifact broke, and it was stolen. Even worse, it was paired with the artifact of mind and power. Without the artifact of soul and righteousness, the power of the artifacts became twisted and brought to life creatures of bones and dust, capable of moving but lacking soul and meaning. The Trine was the only thing that can bring back balance to the world.
Well, how was that? What do you think?
Well, there it is, folks. That's the.
Oh, come on! I sounded just like him. I even did the inflections.
Not quite like him. Well, for one thing, the guy's got like a very prim and proper Oxford English accent, which is
You really know how to break a guy's spirits.
I've said it a bunch of times before. I really like the voice actors in this game, so I'm sorry, but I preference to what that guy's actually doing. But in any case, the next level is kind of a minecart. Well, not minecart. There's a little bit of that, but it's another underground dungeony type of deal. But in any case, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.